So Corinne goes to speak to her accountant with respect to the various things that Bruce has said that the accountant needs to deal with. So she in fact decides to make that part of stage 2 of her project, which involves project planning. She speaks to the accountant and she develops a budget for Corinne's kitchen, covering her from this R&D stage that Bruce has talked about and moving forward all the way through a post-launch stage. Now, because Bruce has accounting background, Corinne's decided to organise a four-way meeting between herself, Bruce, Vanessa and myself in order to discuss the questions of project planning. And the first topic that comes up is one of budget. So tell me, Corinne, how's this budget going? Do we know how much we're going to be working with in terms of all of the issues?
Yes, I've been doing a lot of research, and I'm actually going to manufacture in Thailand now. Way cheaper, and they can actually use my machines over there, and they can certainly produce some volumes as well. So I want to do it in Thailand. It's the situation at the moment.
And I know you've been speaking to Vanessa about marketing in that area. What have the two of you kind of resolved so far?
Well, Vanessa has been a great help for me. So Vanessa, what we're going to do?
We've actually established that we need to identify what languages are spoken in there, where the manufacturing will be done in Thailand. There are 5 to 6 different languages that are spoken over there, so we need to establish exactly which one we're going to work with, and especially with the workers of the factory. I think we also need to establish translating any documents that we're sending over there and having an interpreter as well on board with you.
Okay, yeah, that's good, because I've been having a lot of problem talking to them. You know, I want to put real good system in place in my production so that I get exactly what I ask for. You know, there's a bit of a tricky issue in the mixing of the product to be able to conserve the product properly, otherwise it could go bad. So very, very important process. I mean, we're talking food here, so I have to be very careful, and I'm not sure they understand what I'm telling them. Now, you know, I've already had, you know, we had a trip there together, and I think we're going to need a few more to get that right. So that's where I'm standing at the moment.
Yeah. We certainly too, Corinne, I wanted to explain to you, being an SME, you obviously cost blow out, as you know, very easily. We do have the ability to do video conferencing to save on those costs moving forward. So we do have, we can have you sitting here in Australia, we can certainly Skype in or whatever, and we can have the services of an interpreter here. So that cuts down initially straight away on your cost of travelling, accommodation, but you're still having that face-to-face and keeping that negotiations live.
Yeah, that sounds good. So sometimes when the language is not so good either, and you see each other, you see the expression, it's a lot easier than just a phone call, you know, to get to be a little bit more personal with them as well. So that would work well. Thank you for that. No worries.
So we have our budgeting ideas in place, it sounds like, and we've got the language issues for Thailand in place, but I want to sort of ask you, Corinne, about your distribution network. Are you planning to have reps in the various countries that the rice is going to be sold to? I know you're manufacturing this Corinne's Kitchen in tubes, and you're saying it's going to have the rice in there as well as the Australian nuts in there. You haven't yet sourced those nuts, right? Like, you don't know where the Australian supplier is yet, do you?
I have a lot of, yes, I've done some research, and there's one in Victoria and there's one in South Australia.
Okay, so in terms of then taking those nuts, taking them to Thailand, and you haven't sourced your rice yet as well, have you?
No, I think we're going to have, for those volumes, I think I'm going to have to begin to go overseas, and I was looking at India.
Okay. So you've got your rice product and your nuts and herbs product, which you're combining in these Corinne's Kitchen tubes. Okay, now that makes transport, I guess, easy out of Thailand when the tubes are manufactured. But in the various countries it's going to go to, are you going to have reps there, distributors there? What are you thinking? Maybe Bruce has got some ideas on this. I don't know.
I was thinking of having agents that would be able to distribute it through different networks. I'm looking at the shops network rather than the restaurant network on this one, just because, obviously it's small packaging. So I'm really seriously looking for agents that have contacts in those industries in various Southeast Asian countries.
Okay, so we've got that going on. Now that we are clear about the fact that several countries are involved, what have you done so far in terms of intellectual property, like trademarks for Korean's Kitchen? Is there a patent in this product? Is there a design registration over the package? Have you got copyright in the logo? I'm sorry, I'm a former lawyer. I know this stuff. So tell me.
Trademark Korean's Kitchen.
Oh, good. Where?
I've trademarked it in Thailand because I thought if they manufacture it there, I want to be sure.
Okay.
But I certainly haven't looked at doing it, and it's quite costly until I know I have a market in those other places.
Have you talked to Bruce about those costs?
Bruce?
Corinne, yeah, I see the product's going well. It's looking good.
It's going very well.
You've gone so far down that track since we last spoke.
I know, I'm so excited.
But yeah,
I need more money, Bruce.
Oh, don't we all? You know, the government's got a thing called a mint, and they just print more money when they need it. I wish I had one, I really do. But while you're making these decisions about who's going to distribute overseas, you probably should be aware of the various grants. Now, the Export Market Development Grant has got some very specific details about what you can and can't claim. If you put a rep over there, you can claim the rep's cost. That's not provided you're paying them a retainer. If you pay them a commission, you can't claim those costs because that's an after-sale cost as opposed to a marketing cost. So you might want to look when you're drafting the contract as to how you're going to pay them and whether you want to recover some of those costs.
I don't get it. What do I have to do?
Well, if you're paying a retainer a commission, that's classed as an after-sale cost. So if he's taking a percentage of profits off every bag he sells, you give him $1, right? You cannot claim those costs. That's not claimable under the export grants.
So it has to have a fix.
So if you pay him a retainer and you know roughly how much he's going to, maybe at this stage, because you know you're going to sell at least a certain quantity, pay him a retainer to a certain level of sales, and then any sales he achieves over that, make that commission. At least you've then got the benefit of getting some money back from the government. The other thing you might want to look at is, I know that they're going to start hitting you with inquiries about pricing, particularly with a big order. Don't ever drop your price, because the day you drop your price in one market, the other markets will hear about it. You're better off giving them some samples, because the cost of those samples you can claim against the export grant, right? So that can actually increase your profits rather than reducing it. With regards to patents and trademarks, yes, you can claim, but it's important on those that legislation says that you must use those trademarks in Australia first. So if you've only registered it in Thailand and not in Australia, you could have some problems. But I know a particular clause in the Trademark Act which we can probably use against the government if you haven't used your trade. It's not one that's been tested yet, but I'm quite willing to test that one.
I'm not sure if I am,
It's our cost. I mean, we only work on success fees, so it's not going to cost you anything. We'll have the fun doing that.
Thank you very much. Okay,
so hopefully we'll help mitigate some of your financial risk.
So I need to put all that in my business plan now and see exactly where I'm going to go for those trademarks and.
Yeah, happy to meet with yourself and your lawyer and your accountant if you want to work those things through.
Thank you. Okay, let's put down the plan. Thank you very much.
Now, Corinne, I've got an additional question. I mean, you've got your budget in place. You've got this
Just
idea.
about.
Yes, and you've got your sales.
Growing now.
Your budget's growing. Yeah, I know. The bottom part of it is. So in terms of budget and sales reps in place, and you've got the Thailand trademark application, I think we should also get it filed in Australia, given what Bruce has said. And then we can probably make the first use in Australia, because use from a trademark sense, Bruce, only needs to be distribution of a small quantity in Australia. We can get a crate of the tubes brought to Australia and distributed. I'll buy one.